I can't wait. Picardly wait. 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 I can't wait. Picardly wait.
Hey everybody, you're listening to it. This is, if you can't Picardly wait, a completely separate and new podcast than some other ones on the same podcast feed. But anyway, yeah, my name is Wade Bowen, and with me today I have a couple of my friends. You may have heard them last week. We got Sean Parada.
Hey, when you're ready, come and get it.
And Glen Hall.
Hey, other catchphrase.
And no Benny this week because he's a mercurial person, and sometimes you don't know where he's going to pop up. He's like a little
whack-a-mole.
Yeah, well, he's a prairie dog. Little pops his head
prairie
up.
dog. There you go.
I like to think he's doing a field report for Collar Talk.
Yes, that's what we'll say. He's on location.
Yeah, he's out investigating.
Yeah. So yeah, this is that podcast. I've got here my two emotional support animals, as it were, to try to navigate my feelings towards this Star Trek show.
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of Star Trek shows, and I guess I just have a complicated feelings towards fandom and big corporate franchises in total. And so I brought these guys on who I would say are not Trekkies at all.
No, don't care.
Yeah.
The legacy of Star Trek
I don't know shit.
is irrelevant to me.
Yeah.
I'm not one yet, but I'll have more to say on that later in the episode.
Yeah. So, I mean, if anything, for all the Kickers of Elves podcast, if we can just guide people through their own, I don't know. Is it even a good thing to consider your, the Star Trek community is great. I will say that much.
Yeah.
They're very warm, welcoming people for the most part. You got, you're not my Star Trek people, which are kind of, there's toxic in any community.
Yeah. You're going to find that in any of these things.
Yeah.
Do you consider this podcast feed to be the Boyhood of sort of Star Trek podcast, sort of like guiding people through like what it means to become a Trekkie?
No, that's
sort of like venturing into Star Trek adulthood in real time.
No, oh God, that sounds horrible.
It does.
Taking many, 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 many years to actually make it.
No, I'd rather just be like guiding people. I don't know, like don't let these big companies be your guide. What your sense of identity is. But I mean, you guys are fans. Everybody's fans of something.
Yeah. For sure.
Like we got Mr. Fast and Furious over here, and
yeah, I'm the worst. I love the Fast and the Furious movies, the Boston Red Sox, and I have an annual pass to Disney World. Like I am a corporate shill if ever there was one.
Right, and Glenn is a person that paid for DC Universe, so I think that speaks for itself.
That's insane.
And continue to, actually, which, I have opinions on that, but, I'm guilty as charged.
Yeah, I mean, and that, I say that, hey, some of my favorite people have paid for DC Universe.
In a way, it's better than CBS All Access.
Yeah.
But listen, can I, hop right in and strain a connection?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, isn't that what this is about? Like about legacy and about institutions, about corporations. I mean, the Federation, which we talked about it a little bit, the issue of people being mad that the Federation has become in this Star Trek iteration an entity not worth trusting, an entity that isn't pure good in the world. But I mean, I that's sort of what we're talking about when we talk about these giant companies, these sort of things that we have to engage with and have to pledge loyalty to because they're what provide us with services and entertainment and whatever. And so for them, the conversation he has with Anne Magnuson, is that the actress's name? I don't know the character's name.
Oh, yeah.
But, is about, like, him saying, like, the Federation doesn't decide who gets to die, and her saying, absolutely we do.
Yeah.
Is sort of, like, exactly what your thesis statement is for this podcast, it feels like.
Well, and if I may, just as a quick question related to that scene, which I think, Wade, you'll be able to answer, is that scene the first time anyone has ever said fuck on screen in Star Trek?
No. Hey, it's like, did you not did you not watch Discovery, man? She's like...
Right, they did.
Wait,
yeah,
did they say fuck on Discovery?
It's pretty fucking cool. Hell yeah.
It was also the second time they said it this episode of Picard. When they're investigating the room, she said, fucking cheeky, fucking clever, something like that.
Wait, did she really? I totally missed that. For some reason, when the Admiral said it, it like really stuck out.
No, her saying it, the woman he was investigating Daj's room with was the first.
Oh, yeah.
The first fuck of Picard.
Ah,
right.
But not the first fuck of Star Trek.
No, that was Tilly.
Disco,
yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm getting all lefty over here. Like, these people you're not owed loyalty. They're not owed your loyalty.
No, of course not.
I love Star Trek. The community, is great. But, the shows are bad sometimes. And sometimes people come in.
Right.
With,
Yeah.
Well, and again, I have something to contribute on that very dynamic later, but should we...
Sometimes they leave the Romulans to die,
Right. But not to say that this show is bad. That's not what I...
No, I liked this episode a ton.
I liked it too, not quite as much as I liked the premiere, but
way more than the premiere.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I did not... Well, see, yeah, I had some qualms of a fan perspective, of just nitpicky nerd shit, that just kind of drove me crazy. So, I mean...
Again, outside observer, I liked it a lot more.
Yeah. So, I mean, for all this, I'm talking about, fuck the corporations, man.
Yeah.
There's things about this as a Star Trek aficionado, as it were, that we're like...
Fucking tool.
Yeah, that really bothered me.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm always curious to hear about that stuff because there is, as we've said it a million times, there's a layer to anything Star Trek at all that I simply don't have in me. So I'm very curious to hear what those things were.
Well, so I guess let's just jump into it. Let's talk about what happened in the episode.
Well, I mean, we have Sean's wonderful cover of a cover.
Oh boy. Yeah, tune in at the end of the episode for the next theme for a synopsis of this episode. I'm going to keep recording these things. I had to keep my voice down a little bit. I'm so sorry.
This one's we're taking it a little bit easy on
a little smooth jazz.
This is the problem with a home studio.
Right. Yeah. I know. Yeah. This episode is called Maps and Legends, which I had some questions okay, why did they call it Maps and Legends other than...
I was curious about that too.
Michael Chabon has an essay collection that I was looking at on my shelf when I was watching this below my TV called Maps and Legends.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
What?
That McSweeney's put out or something.
What?
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, it's just because...
I'm fucking mad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm making a motion with my hands here because he's the writer, and they're like, oh, he likes this, and so that's... Then I brought it up to some Trekkies on the internet that know more about everything about the minutia than I do. Yeah. And, I mean, they gave an answer that you don't have to be a Trekkie to figure out. It's all about, them finding a map to the story and where he's going, and there's the legend of the Zhat Vash, I guess. But also, it's
I thought it meant a literal legend for a map.
For a map. It's clever, isn't it? It's both. Yeah,
multi-layered, man.
Well, it's legends, and and I mean, Picard's legacy, is directly called into question. So, a legend, of a man. There's a lot of layers to this thing, man.
Right. Yeah, but I didn't get much about the maps other than he's charting a way forward to try to figure out the mystery.
Which, maybe it's just that simple. Maybe it's just he's making his own map for what he's going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also Michael Chabon likes that title, I guess.
It seems like he does.
Or Alex Kurtzman, did, because Kurtzman got co-writing credit on this one.
Okay.
It's the both of them. But yeah, we can go into a synopsis, but we don't have to go through
No.
Yeah,
I don't think we have to go deep on a synopsis there. I mean, so little.
Yeah, I don't.
Really, like, beat for beat, almost nothing happened in this episode. It's like
Right.
It's a few conversations.
Yeah, it spent a lot of time up top with just the technobabble, which kind of annoyed me. Like,
That was exhausting. I
like-
feel like I did not need all of that.
I will say I liked the opening scene of like what happened on Mars. I thought that was like a really interesting just window into like the events of that day. And side note, do any of you ever play that Alien game from a few years ago, Isolation?
Nope.
No, I heard it was
But
good.
I heard it was good.
Yeah, it's really good. If you like the most recent Resident Evil sequel before the remakes.
Yeah, it's a survival horror game, yeah.
Yeah. But so the androids in that game look a lot like the androids or the synth in
that's funny.
in the opening. Yeah. Like though the joke in Isolation is that they're like the off-brand version of Ian Holm from the original Alien movies. So
that's great. Yeah, that's great.
In a way, these are like the off-brand versions of Data.
Right. Now I like that cold open.
Me too.
It was all right. I mean, it got that hell yeah. It was like. It was fine.
Was that making fun of Discovery? I could have seen that being a little bit of a...
It felt like the same kind of rambunctious, fucking cool, but it worked fine. I don't know.
I just meant like specifically making fun of the line from season 2 where it's like, Hamlet, hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's like, it's a little much. But yeah, I like that a lot. And then, I guess from there they just talk about the Zhat Vash.
See, and that's what...
Or the Tal Shiar.
That's the... Okay, right off the bat, that's what really, really bothered me about this episode.
All right, explain.
Because the Zhat Vash... Okay, so basically, you can never use the Tal Shiar again. And y'all don't know this because what the fuck do you know? No, I mean, because you're not...
Because I don't know jack shit, bud.
Right. The Tal Shiar is like the Romulan CIA, the Romulan secret intelligence.
Yeah, I think they called them the secret police in the episode.
Right. So now, it's like you could have just had this be about a faction of the Tal Shiar or the people that killed Daj.
Right.
But now, no, it's the secret thing, and they have this deep, dark, dread secret that nobody knows except I know all about it, and this is the first time we've ever... So it's like the super Tal Shiar. And so now... Star Trek can never use the Tal Shiar ever again because then they're going to be like, well, they're not that bad. They're not as bad as the Zhat Vash.
Right.
And there's no reason that you couldn't just...
Well, but what if they wipe out the Zhat Vash in Picard? So is the Zhat Vash an invention of Picard?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, some nerds on... Maybe someone can disprove me here. Maybe it probably showed up in a book or a comic somewhere.
There's something somewhere,
possible.
right.
But I feel like it's whole cloth made for this, and it's because they wanted to have their own thing, but it just made me so mad because now the Tal Shiar are second fiddle to this like thing, and they have this dread secret.
I don't know. Yeah, what the fuck was that?
Which is like that nobody can know except loathing is at the center of it. And my mom told me it was like if there's a mystery that nobody knows about, but then she knows all this stuff about it, except nobody knows what the secret is because it might drive you crazy. So it's like they've got like the Scientology Wall of Fire secret, OT level 10 or whatever, dread secret that is going to unravel everything. And then it's something to do with them hating synthetics so much. Because have you noticed that the Romulans never use androids or anything? It's like, no, because you just kind of decided that because it wasn't a big thing in any of it's never come up. And now it's like, okay, so their whole thing, and they're thousands of years old, and they've infiltrated everything for thousands of years, even Starfleet, which is less than 500 years old at this point, but that's fine. The Klingon Empire's been there a long time.
Right.
So, yeah. And it made me mad.
Well, just as an outsider, at least not being like, as familiar with this part of the lore, just as like a newbie to this, it felt a little weird for them in the episode to introduce one secret police, secret society type thing, the Tal Shiar, and then be like, well, but then there's another one. And it's like
exactly
from a rookie's perspective, that was a strange choice to be like, oh, the secret thing, but forget about that. There's another secret thing.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. I mean, I feel like it is, like that's where we have to just sort of be like, well, that's not for, like the Tal Shiar mention is for the fans, who can be like, oh boy, well, who could be like, oh, well, they're probably Tal Shiar, and that's what's going on.
Right.
And the show's like, the Tal Shiar, and then the show's like, not the Tal Shiar. And that's not to say it's good or bad.
I I'm not afraid to say it's just bad because the Tal Shiar have a reputation in Star Trek of being like badasses. You don't fuck with the Tal Shiar.
Right.
And now they're just like, well, they're not that bad. They're not the Zhat Vash.
Kind of a hat on a hat. We're sort of like...
Yeah, it's a hat on a hat. So, like, there's no real reason except they spent like 10 minutes up top with the Irish Romulan talking about, like, stories that her mom told her.
Right.
It's like...
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if it's like... And you don't have to do that to do this, but if it's like, we've established that Picard has tried to be friend to the Romulan,
right.
like that he has been. So if it's like to get Picard and the Tal Shiar, like working together to root out the Valja. I'm so sorry, I don't.
Yeah,
these words are pretty much like just like gibberish noodles in my brain.
They are,
but like and I mean, even if the group is a sect of the Tal Shiar, you can still do that,
right?
Like you don't. If that's what they're doing, you still don't need a new. But
yeah, and it could just be a faction of the Tal Shiar, but they're like, no, they're the man behind the man, like, it's like
right. It does feel like, well, it's Star Killer base, it's like
which is
the Death Star can destroy one planet, this can destroy 5, like it's bigger.
That was my big problem with Discovery too. Is like, if you got to make it the whole universe, like you can have lower things, but they have to one up everything and make it the biggest thing ever.
Yeah.
Which
I do think like maybe you're convincing me that I don't like this episode as much as the first one. We'll see by the end, but like I mean I like that the stakes were sort of just Picard wanting to save his friend's daughter,
right?
And I mean daughter, obviously the implications of the word daughter in this situation or whatever, but I think like just the human sort of element of that like is lovely, and then to sort of like have to Star Trek universe,
right.
It's actually the Romulan fight against synthetics that's going to lead to some like universe altering whatever, I'm like, all right, I'm exhausted now, kind of.
Yeah. And I don't mean this shit talk, like, I'm not trying to ruin anybody's enjoyment of this episode.
No, I still thought it was good.
Yeah.
I'm still into it. It's just like, I get it. You could keep it more simple.
That was like the concept of the Zhat Vash, or like,
yeah,
you just didn't need it. It's like,
right,
and
I admire, like, I applaud the instinct to create something new. Like I feel like so much Trek relies on old Trek,
right?
Because there's so much Trek, like there's just so much world, like there's so much to do. So like, it's great to invent something new, but when the thing you're inventing is a thing that exists but worse, like that's not
right. Yeah.
That's not great.
Yeah. And then even, I mean, it's not on subject, but like even from last episode where he's like, there is another, it's like, okay.
Right. Yeah. We're sort of doing like, well, this is probably the work of the Tal Shiar. It's not the work of the Tal Shiar. And I'm like, whoa, what the fuck?
This feels like an episode that maybe was just a little bit too much. I mean, it's that classic like situation of like just too much exposition. Like they didn't balance the chemistry of like exposition versus like the plot actually moving forward.
Right. They did a lot of exposition up top, and they oversold it, I think, is my problem with it. Like, because you could even have the Zhat Vash. I'm not mad that there's a group called the Zhat Vash. It's just like
you're mad. The reveal
of like they're the boogeyman behind everything that we've never heard of, and nobody knows anything about them. But I'm going to tell you all this stuff about them.
Right.
I think the rest of the episode is stronger for it. Like I think the rest of the episode moves forward in a way that I think is better served by having that out of the way early. Which is not to say that it's completely justified, but like,
right.
It did let us go on to like some great conversations about like really, like talking about who Picard is and what Picard means,
Right. Yeah, and the reveal that there's like secret Romulans infiltrating Starfleet, that's cool. That's like,
sure.
There's a trope in Star Trek that the admirals always end up being evil.
Right, that's funny.
And in this one, they one-upped that, like he got in a fight with an admiral, but they one-upped that, like, she's not the truly evil one, it's the Commodore that is...
Right, the admiral is actually like just sort of incompetent and is just like telling the Commodore like exactly what they need to know to stop Picard's plan.
Yeah. And like when he goes in and talks to the admiral, that actress is fine. Like, she's got a great history. She was like in a punk band in the 90s and stuff.
She's cool as hell.
Yeah,
She's been around for a long ass time.
But that scene, I mean, this is where I'm going way back to like a segment we did in the ROA, kind of like how would I make this better? Like, it started off at 11 and it didn't grow. Like,
yeah, it did.
If she were like coming in and talking nice to Picard, but then you realize that she's fucking him over or something.
Right.
But it just starts at the like, how fucking dare you? When she said
sheer fucking hubris.
Sheer fucking hubris. It's like, whoa.
Which is like an insane line, an insane read. Like, and you know, and like, but like, she's fucking right, you know. I get that Picard is like this legendary guy, like, and that he's this incredible Captain Admiral, whatever, but like to just like walk into this office and be like, here's this crazy plot that's definitely happening. I need a ship and a crew right now. She's right to be like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
But
that scene could have been like mapped better.
Right, like if she were almost starting off on his, you know, being friendly to him, and then like he comes off.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a literally like crazy ask he's giving. So if she were like more like, wait a minute, oh, are you losing your mind here? I can't do that.
Right. If she can match him with like, okay, like like this sounds serious, like we should talk about this. This might be something. And then he keeps like insisting a ship, and she goes, "Fuck off! Like stop it!
Yeah.
I cannot just give you a ship, man." But like to respond to his first request by being like, "Fuck you, you piece of shit, has been nobody," and he's like, "Oh God."
yeah. I was like, okay. That escalated quickly.
Yeah, it really did. And man, he came across a little mansplaining too, on top of everything else. But
yeah,
it's tough because he's like, we know he's right, but we also know that like the way he's viewed in this world now is as someone like who needs to be reined in a little bit.
Yeah,
right.
You know, so.
I mean, and this episode does that rather well with Moritz.
Yes,
comes in and that's, you know, he's friendly towards him, but he's like, but you have this brain thing, which
right, like this is fucking real, man.
Yeah, it's gonna kill you, and you know whether that's true or not, or whether maybe he's, you know, giving him something, trying to keep him down, you know, but.
Right, just trying to not let him go back into space.
Right, but
he does say, like, maybe if you're lucky, this will kill you. So he doesn't seem like all that concerned about preventing him from going, so...
Right, because they're...
I mean, the implication is that he knows him, so he knows that there's no reason to try.
Yeah. My official prediction is that something will happen by the end of the season that removes that thing. Like, either he'll be an android for a minute or something. Something like that.
Or just won't... I mean, that thing, just to put it in perspective for y'all, that is in continuity, like in the
I did read that.
Yeah,
it's in like the finale.
It's in the finale where it makes him go kind of jump through time stuff. But I mentioned that last episode, All Good Things.
The TNG finale.
Yeah, and so that coming up is in.
Okay.
Yeah, and then he brings up what's the name of the ship that they had? Oh man, I'm such a bad Trekkie. Like
the Stargazer.
The Stargazer. Yeah, that's the ship that Picard was on before that, you know, when it came up.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Oh, okay. Very good. Is that guy like a known Star Trek character, that doctor?
He might be.
Okay, sorry. I feel like I asked you a lot of questions that force you to show your ass to Trekkies, and I apologize.
Yeah.
I mainly recognize him as the hotel reviewer from Ocean's 13.
Hey, Glenn, listen to the fucking song.
Yeah.
Wait, oh shit, I haven't listened to it yet. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Glenn, listen to the goddamn song instead of spoiling the song.
You were the one who's spoiling it. Like,
I'm kidding, but listen to the song.
I mean, people will,
because that's exactly who that guy is. Yes,
right.
I mean, he's a character actor. He's been in like
he's a known character actor. I like him a lot. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do we think about like the Soji plot in this?
That synth fucks.
Yeah.
She does?
Yeah.
She does, yeah. I don't really have a problem with, other than like, oh, that big Borg cube reveal, it's not actually a secret. Everybody knows about it. Apparently it's like Disneyland.
Yeah, that was a little weird that it was like, oh, no, we're just working here.
Yeah. It's
right.
like, because there's like the Trill, the black woman with the spots on her neck. That's a Trill. First black woman Trill that I think that Star Trek has done, but, you know, kudos.
Oh, interesting.
Mazel.
She has a worm inside of her that probably, if she's a joined Trill,
right,
that jumps from host to host and lives forever. Kind of.
Oh, Interesting.
Oh, okay, that's fun. So they had their like 99 days since the last assimilation sign. That's that's fun.
Yeah, I like that. I saw that too.
Yeah, no, I think that was fun.
Yeah, but the reveal that's like, oh, everybody's, because the way it set it up was like there's this big secret that the Romulans have, and it's not a secret because even that Trill, who is a Federation, she was like, I almost didn't get my papers in,
right,
from the Romulan state or whatever, which is, I guess, a little bit of nerd world building, shows that the Romulan Empire has fallen and the Romulan Free States are a new thing.
Oh. Well, so my question about that is, so that she mentioned that they were selling the Borg technology, so...
Right.
But they also called it a reclamation site, and just from that, like, surgical scene, it seemed like they were... Are they unborging people, or are they just stripping the Borg for parts? Like, it seems...
Well... Those Borg were all dead, and so they're stripping the parts.
Seems like they're just salvaging them,
salvaging the technology.
Okay, and because I was a little unclear, it's like, are these Borg actually dead, or are they dormant? Like, I know they mentioned that, like, oh, it's cut off from the collective, and so I'm not 100% clear on how the Borg work. Full disclosure, but
what's his name, Narek, when he's talking to his sister Rizzo. Her name is Rizzo. Her name is Rizzo.
Go Grease Lightning.
Yeah. There's Rizzo and Raffi, or the character names in this are like,
yeah.
So, but they're talking, and he says, we haven't found the nest yet. So I think they're looking for a nest, quote unquote, in the cube somewhere, and it's a huge labyrinthine thing that they haven't found yet. So probably they're going to try and get a Borg queen, and Alice Kruger's probably going to show up next episode, judging from the next on.
Okay.
She's a character actor that played the Borg Queen in
either
the movie or the...
I think First Contact, because I recognize Borg Queen from that.
Right. Yeah, there's a different Borg Queen in First Contact than the Voyager show, but it's probably yeah.
Okay.
So the Romulans that we see on the Borg cube are doing the same thing as the Voltage Burger, or are not.
I think
the plans are connected.
Yeah, Narek works for Zhat Vash apparently.
Yes, but we saw.
It's a Romulan reclamation project, so the Romulans are the ones that own the cube, that are mining it or whatever.
But they're not, like, that's not who's running, like, the...
Yeah, like,
he's not directly...
Project.
He knows that she is a synth.
Right. She might not know,
but she might not, other people might not.
Right, because apparently his sister was the one in charge of the job that killed...
the SWAT team.
And he has a softer hand, as it were.
Oh, he sure does.
Right, his approach is solely fuck-based.
Yeah.
Solely fuck-based espionage, in his case.
I mean, we've seen it work.
Yeah, so. And, I can't fault him.
No, sold.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
he must be devastated that the twin is gone.
Oh.
And twins. Sorry. I'm real sorry.
Yeah, it's even more close than a twin, they say in the techno battle section.
Yeah, I don't
like
lines like that are exhausting. Like, what?
There's a few exhausting lines, like Picard's like, "Oh, it's the ghost in the machine." There's like
I was like, "Ghost in the shell."
Yeah,
what
right.
are we doing?
I mean, Ghost in the Machine. It's a like,
I know, yeah.
Cliche alert, but like. It's not even a setting up...
It wasn't what he was referring to, yeah. Like, that wasn't a Ghost in the Machine.
Well, the Ghost in the Machine was...
The call log.
The sister would look the same, and they're hidden because they scrubbed all the data. But it's like, they just wanted to sound grandiose, but it wasn't the right time for it. It was just like a techno-babble thing, so you're using this evocative Ghost in the Machine language, but it's not necessary at that point.
It didn't really apply, but yeah.
And the same with the, like... This call came from nowhere on Earth. Dum dum dum. It's like well, it's Star Trek, of course.
Like, I'm sorry. In Star Trek, something came from outer space.
Oh no, yeah.
Like, what are we gonna do? What? It's stupid. It's yeah. I mean, it's funny. I wanna just take a quick second. I just don't want to blow past it. Just some pretty genuinely funny moments, and it was really all when he went to see the Admiral.
Uh-huh.
And it was just, just Picard with a visitor badge is funny.
When he puts the badge on, that was nice.
And what's your name? Him just like waiting to be like, handed the badge because they know. And, yeah, it's great.
One of my favorite subgenres in just real life is famous people having to do normal everyday people stuff, and that's extremely my shit right there.
Yeah, it's great. Just like Picard, Yeah. And I mean, it just went viral. It was like Brad Pitt wearing like a name tag at like an Academy event,
Yeah.
And it's funny. Like Jean-Luc Picard putting on a badge at Starfleet that says visitor.
Right.
Like good.
There was some.
Yes. Like keep their like human moments.
Yeah. Yeah. There were some good comedy little jokes and like
there were
like when Alison Pill comes in. And she's looking, and he's like, she's got the Asimov, the complete robot.
Yes,
and he's like, oh, science fiction. I don't get it. It's like,
yeah,
you know what?
That's great.
That actually makes sense.
Yes,
right. Jean-Luc Picard is like he loves reading the Master and Commander series, I'm sure, but probably like sci-fi. It's like, well, no, not why?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's like it's like all those jokes about where worlds and like. God, I'm trying to think of a specific example, but like there's like a joke about like D&D characters playing a D&D campaign that's just like them working in an office. Like there's when you live in a world that has all this exciting stuff, like the actual fiction stuff doesn't really seem all that exciting.
Right.
It's a robot chicken joke.
I think a lot of it is just like is acting, like I mean these are good actors, like Discovery, like for all of its fault, like for the most part, had good actors, like who could deliver a joke and a line, and and like I just like watching Patrick Stewart have fun.
Yeah,
he seems like he's enjoying himself, and that's making me enjoy myself.
Right.
There you go. Yeah, and it's like because I don't think this was a bad episode. I just think it just handled some things a little like clumsily, and it didn't, in my opinion, didn't live up to the highs of the first episode.
I think this episode somehow weirdly had more work to do than
that's a good way of putting it,
which is an interesting. I wonder if that's deliberate, I wonder if they could have introduced all of the she could have known about the Talvash or whatever, and she could have told him, and then she could have exploded, it all could have really. So I don't know, I appreciate the effort to split the exposition between the first two. I do hope the next one we don't have another big, reveal about something where he has to go, they're twins, they're the Talvad, the Vork Cube. Why? Well, everybody.
I hope next episode just opens with him getting drunk with Raffi and singing Baby Beluga, or
yes. Just drink that wine, man.
Yeah,
let's just chill. Yeah.
Raffi.
Well, and I guess this is kind of between this and Discovery, we're kind of seeing at least just from this Trek I've seen. I know Deep Space Nine I think is probably serialized as well, just from what you've told me, Wade. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting seeing this specific era of Star Trek kind of struggle a little bit with the serialization of Star Trek. Because, in its purest form, it is kind of an episodic thing where, they go on an adventure, the episode's over, they're done with the adventure.
Well, Disco did sort of try to have its cake and eat it, too.
Yeah.
And it seems like Picard is not doing that so far.
No.
And I'd be surprised if it did. I don't think it'll go that way, and I think that's smart. You can do either. I think they've proven that they can, tackle one or the other, but don't do both.
Right. Yeah.
But, it's, again, this, I don't think there was anything, egregious in this episode. I just think, again, it just didn't quite... It didn't quite hit.
The flow was weird. They spent 15 minutes up top with the, and I hate the Zad Vash, but overall, I didn't hate what this episode was doing other than that thing. But the pacing of it was kind of weird. He spent that time, and then when he calls Raffi, I thought, okay, that's the end of the episode. But then there's
I thought that was the end of the episode too. And then for it to when it came back, and it did feel like a slightly longer black screen, and I was and credits, and then it came back, and I was like, oh, really?
Okay.
Really?
Yeah,
but then mostly just to do stuff about characters that weren't him,
right?
And I was like, nah, I don't really I don't want to do this anymore. You sort of ended your episode.
Yeah, Rizzo comes to talk to her brother.
Right, you tagged it him landing outside of Raffi's house in a taxi would have been a great like cold open for the next episode. You know,
Yeah.
like that. I feel like you're sort of
you're
there. You know.
Yeah.
I agree. That would have worked a lot better.
I like that he just took a space taxi too. Like I am into it.
It felt like they were padding out the runtime. Like this is a 43-minute show.
I hate that they don't like. You don't have to. You make it if it's 30 minutes. It's 30 minutes.
People are afraid.
Your episode can be short. Like I will not be mad at you. Curb Your Enthusiasm is like the first episode was 40, the second was 30, and this week's was 40. Like they're just they're doing whatever they want. I love it. Mandalorian was all over the place and it was great.
Yeah.
Just do episode lengths as long as you need to. You don't have to be locked in. It's bizarre that Star Trek is like the one thing nowadays that feels beholden to the 42-minute structure.
Right.
Well, I have, again, a tease for later. I have something on that subject too. But I guess, overall, like, this is a lot of like setting pieces on the board, it felt like, where it's like, okay, we got the Jat Vash, we got...
you have to do it.
Except you didn't.
We got Rizzo, who shoots people, and Narek, who fucks.
Yeah.
And they, Sandra, or
Commodore O. It's not Sandra
It's
O.
not
I know,
Sandra.
sorry. I was like, wait. But is she also Romulan, or is she supposed to be Vulcan? I wasn't clear.
The internet, even the nerds on my private chat were confused.
Wow.
Even Memory Alpha was confused because, like, they said she was Romulan. But I think the consensus is that she's Vulcan.
Oh, okay. Well,
but the thing with Vulcans and Romulans is they're very similar. Like even
So my wife was asking me what the difference was between Romulans and Vulcans, and as best as I can tell, the Romulans tend to have a like a dual like ridge, not quite like Klingon level, but like I've noticed that like in the Kelvin movies and in some of the episodes I've seen that they have these like kind of divots in their forehead.
Well, TNG introduced the ridges to try to differentiate the Vulcans from the Romulans. Like in Balance of Terror and the TOS, they look like
they're identical.
And it's even it's a call out like holy shit.
The guy that plays
Sarek is
Sarek is
Spock's dad was in So like now I think the consensus is that it's a whole planet and race of people species. So there's variations. Some have ridges, some might not.
Okay.
So which is the right call.
Sure.
So people were like, oh, is she a but and also the main difference between Vulcans and Romulans is just culturally like. They split off like eons ago and, went to Romulus and Vulcan. And so it's mostly a cultural thing. Like, Vulcans are super logical and Romulans are chaotic and high-tempered.
Right. They're like the Vulcans before they like committed to logic.
Right. And also Vulcans are have psychic stuff. And I think maybe Romulans don't have any psychic abilities.
That would track. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah,
okay.
I just sorry guys, I just took a nap. I'm back now. Don't worry about it.
Hey, this is the stuff that Trekkies live for, myself included.
Yeah, that's why I'm not one of them.
that's that. Yeah.
Is this the right time to tell Trekkies I think they're fucking dorks? No, I love you. I love Trekkies and I love Trek.
Yeah. Well, no, I like I said, if I were to be guiding people away from
right.
I don't want to do that.
You just want to urge caution in committing to the the corporate machine,
right? Like for instance, I was worried that the whole dread secret of the Zhat Vash is that they created the Borg somehow, because that would be bad. That would be a bad thing. And I posited that to this group on the internet, and so like the response is like, well, no, because in Voyager, they said that this happened and this is like, yes, I understand that there's continuity issues.
Right.
But you think that matters if they just decide to write it differently? That's what the universe isn't real, people. It's a bunch of writers doing it. So
right.
If Alex Kurtzman wants to take his thing and say plant his flag.
It doesn't matter.
Since he's got the show now, he could decide that the Romulans hate synthetics because they created the Borg years ago and they're trying to make up for that.
Weren't you concerned that Discovery created the Borg?
Yeah, we were definitely.
Don't you keep being concerned that? So does Voyager establish who created the Borg?
No.
Okay.
The Borg first showed up in it's 1400 AD in your Earth years.
Okay.
And in a certain quadrant, part of the Delta Quadrant, which is where most of Voyager takes.
Oh, sure.
Well, that's the cool thing about Star Trek is they really do establish that, like, the galaxy alone is such a huge place that, like, there's crazy shit that's happened throughout its history that, like, we wouldn't even know. That's why I love Doomsday Machine, the TOS episode, because it's just like something happened millions of years in the past, and this thing's left over, and no one knows what the fuck it is.
Yeah, Star Trek established that, but then Disco said, never mind. We can see the galaxy right here. Sorry.
Yeah, I can see it from my house. It's. I'm curious what Picard's approach to that's going to be, like, if it makes the galaxy bigger or smaller. Because Star Wars has the same problem, where it's like it keeps wanting to make the galaxy smaller so that all these characters can see each other and that all the things kind of, revolve around 2 or 3 families.
I'm hoping Picard proves itself to be not interested in the galaxy.
Because like the thing of like, finding out what this world is like for someone that's not embroiled in Star Trek or in Starfleet.
Yeah, some of the people are mad that it's all taking place on Earth, and it's like, that's fine with me.
Yeah, and I think, and if he goes like from Earth to a place to find Braxton.
Maddox.
Maddox.
We got it wrong. Yeah. Last episode.
And then to the Borg cube. Like, fucking, like, great.
Yeah.
Sold.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need this to be about the galaxy. And I hope that the Valtush aren't, like, trying to, like, do something with synthetics that will destroy the galaxy.
Right.
I just...
Sean,
I don't want that. Yeah,
can we make a supercut of all the like mistaken names you've given for stuff in Star Trek?
You probably should, because I truly there's no part of me that's doing this intentionally.
Oh, I know.
I don't remember what any of this is called, and I don't remember what I've called it before.
These somebody can do
that's
it.
The beauty of it.
Listeners want to do that. I can't.
Hey, I'd say if someone does it, we play it on the show and
you go
give
for it.
Shout outs and credit.
Yeah, like
I'm a bad Lord of the Rings fan. I'm a bad Star Trek fan.
I'm well aware of the Lord of the Rings thing. I've tried.
I'm a bad anime fan. Yeah.
I just want to encourage bad fandom, if nothing else.
Because I love these things.
I want to encourage, I want people to enjoy things, but bad fan. That's I think that's what I want.
You don't have to have a encyclopedic knowledge of something to be a true fan. Like, you just have to enjoy it.
The only thing I have that with is the Fast and the Furious.
Right.
Fucking come at me, anybody.
Well, we've talked about that new trailer.
Right. All right. I think
we're not doing it.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I think maybe it's a good time to start to wrapping this thing. But
I think so. Yeah, I think.
Were there any extra little segments that y'all wanted to get to here?
No, I think we're good, right, Glenn?
Well, I had one thing I wanted to talk about. So, as I've mentioned many, many, many times, I decided once we were doing Disco to start watching the original series.
Cool.
And
you?
What?
Yeah, I know, right? So I started doing that, and I tapered off for a little bit once we finished the podcast, just because it just didn't feel as urgent. But since we started doing this, I was like, what the hell? I'll start watching it again. And
just name the segment. What's the name of it?
Oh, sorry. This official segment going forward is going to be called Status Report, because it's going to be the status of my journey through the canon of Star Trek. And just to explain my methodology, first off, I finished TOS as of last night, so woo me.
Woo you.
So I did what any normal person would do, is I created a spreadsheet. And in the spreadsheet...
Oh boy.
Glenn, the Nate Silver of our podcast, giving you useless math facts
Yep.
Hey.
that don't actually end up having causation in the real world. And
Glenn did tell me Hillary had an 83% chance of winning.
right.
Well, anyway, I prefer to think of myself as Walt Hickey, the guy who does all the cultural, or who used to do all the cultural stuff for 538. Anyway,
I'll go Bill James, the baseball guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, hey.
Right.
Sean, I got to talk to you about that after. Anyway,
give us your bullshit numbers, Glenn.
Okay. So I have made a spreadsheet. I have calculated using just on screen. I'm not counting books or comics or anything like that. So using run times, I have calculated the total runtime of what can be considered the entire Star Trek canon. And so what I'm going to do is every week I'm going to report on how far I've gotten into this journey. And as of now,
the sheer fucking hubris.
Well,
what makes you think people care about your your journey?
Good question.
Well, I
Sorry,
I think it's fun.
I'm playing. I'm a huge asshole here. I'm the admiral. Stand up to me.
No, you're good. No,
So,
is funny.
As it stands now, with every bit of Star Trek that I can remember and have watched, I have currently gotten through 15.56% of the Star Trek canon. And just some fun facts, just looking forward. It's kind of hilarious how the percentages break down for everything. Because again, I'm just going off of
I bet I'm laughing my ass off over here.
These facts are fun.
So the original
fucking
series
dork.
is only like barely 11% of all of Star Trek.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting seeing like what constitutes the majority, like where like the big chunks are, and unsurprisingly, it's like the Next Generation era of Star Trek, and so like Deep Space Nine by itself is a fifth of all Star Trek that's ever been made. Yeah. So anyway, so I'm going to just. Keep you guys posted on where I'm at, what percentage I'm at, what I'm feeling, because I'm doing this all in production order. So I'm going to watch the original
all right, Glenn. This segment can only be a minute at most.
Okay, it'll be
moving forward. This segment is getting like a hard hook.
Okay.
I like this. I like the numbers. I like hearing what percentage you were at. But this is so much minutia.
I'm gonna share a screenshot of this spreadsheet at some point, and you guys are gonna love it.
Glenn, you tweet that out, all right? And I'll just be as far from that tweet as I possibly can.
So last thing I'll say. So finished TOS on the animated series. Mostly enjoyed the good episodes of TOS. Really like the animated series, and that's where I'm at right now. That's the end of status report for this week. Fuck you all.
It's like, you're going to get that platinum trophy if it kills you, aren't you, Glenn?
Yep.
Oh, boy. Is there like...
I'm going to do this for all of the things I like. Star Wars, Batman, Tolkien. Like, it's just
Are there fun. Star Trek equivalents to like the Star Wars holiday special? Like, is that... does Star Trek have stuff like that? Sort of like one-off junk?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, the odd numbered movies almost.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah.
I thought it would be the animated series, but like honestly the animated series is kind of great so far.
Yeah, no, the animated series is good. They got like a lot of very well-known sci-fi writers worked on it and stuff. Like,
well,
that's cool.
And like the thing I wanted to say about runtimes is like the TOS episodes are so over long. Like it's old TV too, but like just something that makes the animated series so much better is just like they're quick, they're zippy, they get right to it, and it's all the like great Star Trek stuff still, and all the actors. And
yeah,
I was very pleasantly surprised by the animated series.
I love things that are quick and zippy and get right to it.
Hey!
I wasn't pleasantly surprised by this segment.
You know what? I'm gonna keep doing this out of spite for future episodes.
We know you are, and that's why we're gonna keep busting your balls about it. It's a fun segment. I'm glad you're going on this journey because comedy is more effective in foils. So I will continue to mention that I've only seen the Kelvin movies because they are contemporary Chris Pine-led action movies, and I don't give a shit about any Star Trek that I'm not doing a podcast for.
All right.
Well, so with that being said, Sean, so your percentage is going to be one. Hold on.
How about I tell you what I've seen off pod and we reveal my percentage next episode.
Yeah. I think this is, if you're going to do the segment, Glenn, you got to do the math beforehand.
I did it for Benny. Benny's at 1.35%.
Okay, Benny is not here. So that's super helpful.
All right. Well, that, I guess, replace caller talk for this week.
Boy, yeah, what an improvement.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts before we get off here? Where do you get off?
Yeah, just a little caller talk. I have a noose, and that's my collar, and I'm going to hang myself.
Okay.
Because that segment was... that segment.
Do you guys hear how they bully me?
I hope they do. They're going to side with us.
I'm talking about you. I'm saying you bully me. I'm talking to the listeners. I'm saying...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we get it.
I got nothing to say. I like it. I feel like at times episodes of Disco didn't make me want to watch the next episode of Disco. And so far, both of these first episodes, quality up, quality down, they're a little bit of a roller coaster. They were paced weirdly. Both have made me want to watch the next episode of Picard.
Right.
So if that continues, then, like any quibble I have will be minor.
Yeah. All right.
Any tribble you have?
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck fuck up.
Well, you know what? I can't Picardly wait for next week.
Woo!
Numbers.
God damn it. Flashback to Mars 2385. People are racist towards synths. They kill everybody fucking good. Those people were dicks and they deserve to die. Lights that flash on Mars surface, are all the bombs going off. The Jad Vash are who killed Dash. I have to act like that means anything. Shit fucking hubris, dying old man wants a spaceship. And Magazine's fucking dumb, tells the obvious by his plan. The doctor's the guy from Ocean's 11. I just thought that was fun. So geez, fucking that Romulan in that big board cube. Card brings wine to a character actor. Can't Picardly wait. I can't wait. 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 Picardly wait.